Hey everybody, Emily from The Joy of Coding here, and I am so excited to welcome you today. We are hosting six-figure software developer Karan Erry for an interview today to talk about his journey, his trajectory, and how he's become an amazing six-figure software developer. His first job was his startups, and he's continued that journey. He's become a full stack senior software developer. And so I can't wait to help you guys meet him. It's going to be awesome. All right. I'm just going to bring him onto the broadcast. I'm working on doing that right now. Let's see if this is happening. So my phone is let's see, I'm going to like it. Let's see. I thought I was going to click on it. Oh my goodness. Technical difficulties, guys. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can. Oh man. Let's see. Let's go. Oh, allow viewers to request to join. Okay, so let's see. So Karan, I think you can request to join as well. My clicking on your profile is not working. So are you able to request to join the broadcast, Karan? Karan's here, everybody. I can't wait to bring him on screen for you. This is the first time I'm doing this kind of Facebook Live. Let's see. There's choose how to go live. We're live. Oh my goodness. So let's see, Karan, if you're able to request going live for me. It's not, my phone's not letting me click on. I'm going to try something really quick. I'm going to try to rotate my phone and see if that helps let me do this. Nope, it's not letting me rotate. I think to join from his. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, Karan. Okay, technical difficulties, guys. Karan's gonna switch to his phone. Thank you, Karan. Yeah, I can't invite you right now, but that could just be because you're on a laptop. Sorry, didn't specify that. I am super excited. So Karan started with a company. I can give you a little bit of background while we're getting the technical difficulties worked out to introduce him. So Karan started with a startup company called Ridecell. So, which was an app kind of similar to Uber, things like that. And so he was employed as a full stack software developer to manage that application. And then a couple months ago, he switched to an app that I've used and loved called Turo. It's spelled Turo. And that app allows you to it's almost like an Airbnb, but for rental cars. So you can rent a car and reserve space in a car. And then when you it's so cool. They drop it off at the airport. Yes. Here's Karan. It's really amazing. Okay. Yes. Yes. All right. I think we're going to be in business in just a second. So thank you guys for your patience. I love it. He's working on getting added. But Turo is a really amazing app. And so Karan just started there a couple months ago as a senior software developer, a senior engineer. So I can't wait for you guys. Hey, Karan, how's it going?
Okay. Hi. I think I have it done.
Okay.
Hi.
I know. Good. Thank you for your patience in figuring this out with me. I forgot. I knew I had to be on my phone.
For some reason, I can hear like a whole different track. Yeah, it's so weird. Okay.
Okay.
Just 1 second.
All right. Can you hear other talking?
Yeah, it's really weird.
All right. Is it music or is it just talking?
I think it's really delayed. I can hear like myself, like when I say something, I can hear it like 5 seconds later. This is really odd.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, cool.
I can still hear like us talking like 5 seconds ago. It's really, I don't know what's happening, but it's okay. I can hear you. We can.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and you've got your headphones in, so it should be good. It could just be a little bit of lag or delay. I do have music in the background. I have children downstairs like playing the keyboard and things, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Karan, for joining us. I'm super excited to share your story and your journey with the community because everyone in this group, The Joy of Coding, is looking to become a six-figure software developer, and you're already there. You've arrived, and so we are, looking to learn from your journey, from your experience. So cool. Do you think we have all the technical issues worked out so far? You're good?
I think so. It's a little distracting. I don't know. For some reason, like everything we're saying is like, I'm hearing it 5 seconds later. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to try rejoining. I'm so sorry.
Sure. No worries. Awesome. So technical difficulties here. If you guys are cool, I know a couple of you are just joining. If you guys can hear me okay and there's no echo, can you just let me know in the comments? Because I can't hear anything, but if you guys are hearing something and it's from me, I want to make sure I can fix it as soon as possible. So if anybody, if you're hearing lag or delay, is it good? Are people good? Just let me know in the chat that you're good on camera. Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's see. We'll get this started because I tried putting on my Bluetooth headphones. You can hear. Thank you, David. Love it. Thank you so much. Awesome. Can you hear me okay now, Karan?
Yes, it's perfect now.
Perfect. Okay, because David, one of the watchers said he's got that it's fine too. So we're good. Awesome, awesome. Loving it. Thank you so much for your patience, guys, as we work out the, doesn't matter how much you can code technology, right? You can still have technology challenges. Thank you, Steve. Love it. Thank you so much for letting us know. Because I want to make sure you guys can hear it. And if it's me and I can't hear it, right, I want to fix it. Awesome. So thank you, Karan, so much for joining us. We are super excited to hear about your journey. Yes. And you're calling us, I believe, from California today, right? San Francisco area?
Yes, from San Francisco. I'm actually in the office right now.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Yes. So we're interviewing six-figure software developer Karan Erry, and he's at work. Like, that's really cool. That's awesome. Cool. So Karan, are you willing to share a little bit about yourself, like who you are now today, like how you've arrived at this place?
Sure, yeah. I don't know how much Dr. Hill has told you about me, but I went to Drew for 4 years. I did a Bachelor's of Arts in Computer Science, a lot of courses under Dr. Hill. So I can say with certainty that she's definitely contributed in large part to my success. So I graduated in 2019, got an internship in San Francisco with a startup, got a full-time job, and then it was similar. It was like in the car sharing industry, and 2 years later, I got an offer from Turo. So here I am.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. And I did share a little bit about Turo and what's about in the app. And so I was just curious. Do you think you can tell us a little bit about the story of how you became a six-figure developer, like from then to where you are now? Like, how does that evolution look for you?
Sure. Yeah. Really, it's just about, I think, mastering your fundamentals with CS and really realizing, I guess, what specialization you want to get into, because computer science, software engineering, and all of tech, honestly, is a massive field. You can get into so many things. You can do so much with it. So I can only tell you my experience, but honestly, like anything you do in this space will likely lead to like a great job and a great career. But really, I mean, there's some core principles, of course. It's a very fast changing field, as opposed to a lot of other disciplines. In fact, until I actually joined Turo, I never understood why people used to say computer science is hard. Because my previous job, we used to just do Python and it was all very easy. And now with Java, I'm getting into the hang of program design and interfaces and figuring out exactly what contracts you want to expose to the world. But I won't bore you with technical jargon. But really, it's about I guess figuring out what you want to do, and then just really getting your hands dirty, getting really deep into like the code you're working on, into like the concepts, and I guess. And feel free to jump in, Dr. Hill, if you have any specific pointers or questions. But one of the things that I've noticed that really helps is to understand. It's actually, so Steve Jobs used to say that you should own the whole widget. So something I like to do is to sort of learn the whole widget. So if you understand the entire ecosystem in which your code is being written, how it's getting deployed, how it's getting run under the hood, how it's getting tested, how it's getting where the bugs occur, and like how to solve them and everything. So it's not just about writing your code and deploying your app, it's about the entire ecosystem in the context of which you are a software developer. And that's one of the things that really propels you forward.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I was just grabbing my notebook so I could like take down some notes to ask you some follow-up questions. So I had to slide off screen just for a moment. Love it, love it. This is amazing. So just out of curiosity, you had mentioned Java, like you used to be in Python. So the platforms you're working on are like web applications with a mobile piece. Are you mostly working in like Python Django and like Java Boot? Are you using different types of frameworks here?
I'm primarily on the back end.
Yeah.
And so yeah, with Python, I was using the Django web framework.
Mm-hmm.
With Java, we're using Spring Boot. Um, so yeah, we use like different types, like many different libraries to get the work done. But usually, yes, the primary web framework, if you all are familiar with that, is Spring in Java and Django in Python. But I mean, the specifics of what you use are very fluid, and they change over time, even within companies. But just mastering, I guess, the language and whatever like something you're working on. Like I guess you just pick a library, pick a framework, and run with it. And as long as you can
Mm-hmm.
master what you're working on at a certain time, you don't necessarily need to be worried about what you don't know. Um, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. That's great advice. That's great advice. I share the same advice, but you know, you had a great teacher. No, awesome, love it.
I
But
did.
yeah, just to recap, yeah,
Maybe I
like
think
it's
that way because of a certain reason.
there could be a reason, there could be an influence why you think that way, right? But hopefully it's been borne out in your industry experience as well. Love it, love it. But yeah, if you're looking to launch that six-figure software developer career, you know, mastering a language, the basics in a language, and then diving deep into some kind of a framework. You don't have to learn all of them, but diving into one so you can build in a modern framework and you can kind of learn what that looks like, right? And then you should be good to go. That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Karan. So I have a couple more questions for you. So what inspired you to learn how to code in the first place?
Wow, that's going really long back. I think I first started coding in either the eighth or the seventh grade. I think it was just the magic of being able to write a few lines of text,
Uh,
honestly, and get a computer to just do stuff. It was just the power you held in your hands, to be able to write up a few lines of text. And it was really simple stuff back then. I mean, all we did was like, for loops to add up, averages or something. But still, I mean, like the determinism with which a computer could do something, take your instructions verbatim and just be able to produce something. And that just, showed me what's possible. And of course, it gets more complicated. That's why AI exists, because you can't just tell a computer to, recognize handwriting and it'll recognize handwriting.
right.
But the fact that a computer is able to do that just means that there's a world where you can tell a computer to do something and it'll do it endlessly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. And I love it too, because I don't like to do repetitive tasks. Like, don't pay me to paint your room. Like, I'm gonna find
Yeah.
anything I can to get out of it. But computers, they're brilliant at this kind of repetitive stuff. So it's awesome. Awesome power. That's great. So
And that's
one,
sorry,
yeah,
I just want to add
please.
to
Yeah.
the point about repetition. A lot of people. So I think computer science is one of those. I guess software development is one of those professions where the best ideas come out of removing the repetition and automating more stuff. And so I think some of the best development technologies these days and like that continue to spring up are not sprung up by people specifically working on creating that. It's people solving another problem and realizing, hey, there's a task that I do every day repetitively. So while I'm working on this problem that I was anyway like solving for, probably like a bigger cause or something, I'm going to create a library to automate this thing that I do every day. And suddenly it just blows up and the entire industry uses it. So just keep that in mind as an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And as programmers, we're always looking for opportunities to deepen our skills and to really keep leveling up, right? That's how we climb that ladder where we start at six figures at 100K, but the sky's the limit. I think the max I've heard online is 900K a year as a salary, which that's probably an exception, but hey, that's somebody must have it or they wouldn't report it online, right? It was there. So it's awesome, awesome. But yeah, always looking to
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know, like, personally, I know a friend of a friend who's like 500K. Like, I don't know this 900K person, but I've heard rumors that they exist. And to be honest, anyone in a C-suite position on a startup male is probably more than that, right? Like at that point. Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Love it. So I have another question for you. And so, Karan, I've noticed that in every coder's journey, there's like this moment where everything kind of clicks, where you start off and you're just like on the struggle bus, and then you get off the struggle bus and you are like smooth sailing, cruising, and you just get it. You keep deepening your learning. You don't know everything yet, but you just have that confidence. You're like, I know what I'm doing. I know what's up. So do you think, was there one key moment for you when everything clicked for you as a coder? Not when you knew everything, but when you just kind of clicked and had that confidence?
Um, I feel like I'll start off by saying that I don't think it's a single like point A to point B. I think it's a cycle.
Uh-huh.
You learn, you realize that you don't know something, you struggle with it for a while, and then it clicks, and like the cycle continues.
Okay.
Um, but no, I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, I guess when you're starting out, the world is like is hard, and then you realize at a point at which you say, oh, okay, now I finally know how to do basic stuff. At least like now I can call myself a programmer. Um, I think I don't know if that was a specific like single point in time. I do know that one of them was actually in your software engineering course in college. And so under Dr. Hill, we were like working on this kind of real world project and doing this like really high level debugging that I did not expect college students to be able to do. And that's when I realized that, hey, I'm given this completely foreign project that I'm not used to, and I can actually, work with it. So that was I think one of the key moments when I realized, wow, I guess I'm ready for the real world while still in a college setting.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Karan. That's such amazing feedback. And now I've translated that experience inside the Joy of Coding Academy for anyone. You don't have to be a college student to get it. You don't have to be. So if you're interested in that, please don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to chat more. But that's great feedback, Karan, because I do find that when you work on a real world project and you throw yourself into it and you're successful and you're able to do it, like even if it was challenging, you get this confidence. It's like, oh, I can do this, right? Like this is something that I
Yeah.
can do. Awesome, awesome. Love it. Uh-oh, my questions just went dark on my other screen. Trying to make up. Here we go. Here we go. Awesome, awesome. So, okay, question for you. What do you wish that you could tell your former self, like before you that clicking moment, about the journey to become a six-figure software developer?
That's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, specifically, I think one of the thing I guess I don't know. This may seem really vague, but one of the things is that you keep worrying whether when you're not there yet, and there can be any way, like learning a new language, learning to do something, or working on a project and not knowing, where you're at in it. You keep wondering whether something you're learning is actually going to be useful. Um, and I guess I didn't have to be so anxious of whether everything that I was learning and whether I was not supposed to go deep in this specific topic and whether I should go broad first. And I mean, of course, like I mean, this is to be taken with a pinch of salt. In today's day and age, we can't learn COBOL, or Lisp and expect to be really advancing like our careers, but like within like a subset of like modern day technologies and like concepts, I think as long as you're consistently engaging yourself in learning, whether going broad and learning more languages or going deep and learning a specific language of the ins and outs of it, I think it's bound to help at some point. And just the vastness of the computer science field means that you can know a completely different set of like concepts and things that you've learned, and still be successful, even if you're following a slightly different path than someone else, and even if it's not the conventional path. I mean, it's just about knowing. It's about how much you know and how you can apply it rather than what you know.
Okay, so it's okay. Yes. So let me see if I can kind of clarify that and crystallize that a little bit, Karan. So it's not necessarily what you know, but it's like what can you do with it? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, what you can do with it, and like it's more about how you can solve a problem using the knowledge that you know rather than what specific knowledge you know. And
Yes.
any problem that you're given, you're welcome to use any language you like, any set of tools, and even within a specific language, a specific tool, there's many different ways to solve it. And so it's just about like how you apply the knowledge that you've gained, rather than I only know, knowledge pieces A, B, and C, so I can't solve this specific problem.
Right. So really it's about the process of problem solving that you're following, right? It's not about any one language that you know or any one library. It's really about like, do you have this process down? And that's what gives you that confidence too, right? Like to solve the problems. It's like, yeah, I don't know the answer, but hey, cool, I'll get to learn this neat thing. Instead of being like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to do this thing, right? Like so it's this transition, this mindset, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Love it. And so we're going to be on our final question. So anybody watching, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat. Love to, let you guys connect and pick Karan's brain. It's so helpful for us, if you're looking to become a six-figure software developer, being in the room and asking questions is so important, so valuable because it helps you see yourself there and figure out how to get there, right? It's like there's other people that do this and that have done this. So my last question for you, Karan, is, we, in the Joy of Coding, this Facebook group, we have a ton of different people who are looking to become six-figure software developers. Some are just starting out, learning how to code, and some are on the cusp of launching their career. They're going on the job market. So do you have any advice for aspiring six-figure software developers?
Um, sure. I don't have any like I guess that's a really broad question.
It is.
So I guess like just definitely keep learning and explore, as I said, the entire widget, quote unquote, where everything you're working in gets deployed, and how it actually fits into running a real world application. But beyond this general stuff, if you'd like, I can answer specific questions about back-end engineering and other things, or
Yeah, absolutely.
if anyone watching, if you guys have questions, please happy to answer them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, what a great resource. Thank you, Karan. And Karan's in the group. So if you do have questions, if you're watching this replay after, you can absolutely comment and just tag us. We'll happily answer your questions too if you don't have them today. Awesome. Awesome. So I do have one quick question. And so again, we're winding down the interview. So if you do have questions for Karan, please don't hesitate to ask. I might have one more I can follow up. But I'm curious, Karan, are you allowed to show us what your work environment looks like with your camera? I don't know. It's up to you.
Oh, The Office? Oh,
Yeah.
sure, yeah. Yeah, of course. So I'm currently in this, like, we have these phone booths, which are like tiny cubicles which are soundproof, and so you just take like solo meetings in them.
Nice.
And so this is like that's our office. My desk is well, it's hard to like. There we go. That's my desk over there. Those are my colleagues. This is my team, and it stretches like all the way out there. And so yeah, like you can't see the rest of it, but there's a whole like different side to the office, and we're on two
Cool.
floors in San Francisco, and that's like the view outside.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's awesome. Cool. Let's see. So I have a couple follow-up questions. I can't remember my first
Sure.
follow-up question. But like, okay, I think I remember, but I'll ask the second one first. So you're now a senior full stack developer. I know a lot of people who come into the group, they're lamenting that they see all these job opportunities for senior software developers, but they haven't had their first job yet. So in terms of like abilities and what your daily life looks like on the job, are you able to differentiate for us at all what's the difference between a senior engineer versus like a junior entry level?
That's a great question. Yeah, I was hazy about it initially as well. I honestly did not think I was well, I qualified for senior, but apparently I did. So I guess you need to be on the inside to really like know. But it really comes down, and of course, like I'm going to say it comes down to experience, but of course that's not, telling anything new. But it comes down to knowing, I guess, just a deep knowledge of architecture and design. And so the more senior you go, the more you're able to think about like when I design something, just what all is it going to impact? And the more senior you go, you're able to like think about more more of that thing at once. You're able to design for future use cases. You're able to design looking years into the future, because with your experience, you're able to say, hey, I've seen systems that have evolved over say 10 years, or evolved over like different market use cases, and I know that I can foresee with my experience this feature will go this far, and therefore we should be planning for these evolutions in the future. And also just you're able to plan for different strategies, like different error, like predictions of like what you believe, how it'll be used, how it can be abused, and all that stuff. And so it really goes into design. But as software engineers starting out, I wouldn't worry about all of that. The levels will come as long as you're diligent and you do what you do well. I definitely believe that there's a part of that which is that like there's an asymmetry between experience and levels, in that someone with a lower experience can, if they really ace it at the interview, can I mean, because interviews are a proxy for determining a person's like experience, and so you can like ace it at the interview and be viewed as someone with higher experience than you actually have, and be put into a higher bracket. But that's not really a strategy for climbing the ladder. So really, I think when it comes to like proficiency, definitely. So the one part of it you can control apart from experience, which just comes from many years of working in the industry. But the one part of the seniority aspect that you can control is just how deeply you know what you're working on. And so the ability to say, I have done this specific solution for this problem, and explain why you chose the solution, why you did it a certain way, what other like alternatives you didn't like do, and why you didn't do them, and why you took the specific design decisions that you did. And this doesn't have to be definitely for someone like a principal engineer who is at the top of the stack, their solution may be something like designing a whole new microservice or designing a whole new system from scratch. But someone at your level, someone at my level, designing something could be designing a new class, or designing a new file, designing a new like database table. And even for something as small as that, like there are constraints involved in everything. And to be able to say, I chose to design this class this way, by making it interact with these other members, by designing it so that the other members interact with it in this way, why didn't I design in different competing strategies? To be able to say all that shows that you've thought of all of that, and to be able to think of all of that shows experience and proficiency.
Awesome. So in some sense, what you're saying is that the levels and the experience is almost about the level of thinking and critical analysis that you can do, right? Like, so like a really super low level junior, like entry level, like I guess there's a couple different entry points into that pipeline. Like there's the 40 to 60K developer versus like the 6-figure developer and up. And it's like, if you're at the 40 to 60 level, you're not answering those kinds of questions. But if you're at the 6-figure level, even if you're an entry level, my understanding is you are sometimes asked to think a little bit bigger. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah.
Cool.
That definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Awesome. I love this. Now, could you differentiate for us just a little bit the difference between the responsibilities between that senior engineer who's doing that huge big picture thinking and designing a class, designing a file, versus that junior entry level, but not the low level junior that's just squashing bugs in the corner, but like that 6-figure entry level? Like how would they be different from their decision making thinking that they have to do versus the senior?
I also would want to get rid of the stereotype that the junior engineers just squash bugs on the corner, because it's really just about ramping up. And so like initially, like the junior engineers do that just so they can get I'd say experience about the whole system. And when you're debugging a bug, It's about being able to say, oh, I'm going to check in the logs, and I'm going to check, what services are calling this specific feature.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get your feet wet. But at least at Turo, the way I see the levels, and I'm still new here, but the way I see the levels at Turo is that the more senior you get, the less like day-to-day coding you do, and the more you're managing, I guess, how every part of like our software and tech stack fits together. And so a lot of the meetings I see our senior engineers in are, I guess, designing new best practices for us, designing new microservices that'll like talk to each other, but on a very high level, to understand like the evolution of our services forward in the next like couple of years. And so I guess it's really just, I guess you can really view it as how much of like a bird's eye view you get of the entire system. And so they're viewing our system as really just like very high level entities, and as objects that intrinsically change over time, and as our use cases and businesses, and as our use cases and business changes. Whereas like on like a medium level, like maybe like a senior like me or a staff above me, we're dealing with, I would say, more of like cross-functional issues. And so one of the things I'm working on currently is a team that's helping solve a lot of payments related issues we've been seeing lately. And so those are like cross-functional, those like don't span any specific team, and they're very broad. And on the lower level, I'm not actually sure, but it'll probably be more like very team specific things,
like features,
but just still being able to,
right? When you say team,
yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Love it. So final question I can think of is, if someone is just going on the job market and they want to get a job, I know you're at the senior level, but like imagine someone going on the job market now for a junior development role, that first entry level position. Do you have any advice for what they can do to improve their chances of success?
Well, there's two parts to this. One is getting an interview, and to get an interview, I would say just cold calling is your best bet. Just like cold calling like hundreds of companies, trying to find like, well, cold calling, not really, not. Okay. I don't think like I don't think we can actually call anymore. Like companies don't even like have proper like phone lines, and it all goes to IVRS systems. But I would say just like quote unquote cold calling, finding email addresses on LinkedIn, connecting with recruiters from companies on LinkedIn. And honestly, just like, setting up, if you don't live in San Francisco, if you don't live in a city where a lot of startups that you're looking to get placed in are located, then I would say make a trip there and try to set up time with the recruiters and say, hey, I'm going to be in the area. Can I have some of your time to meet for a cup of coffee or something? And so that's the part of getting an interview. And once on the interview, I would just be yourself, as long as, I know you all work hard, and interview taking is its own skill. And the bigger companies have so many candidates that they resort to like more automated and structured interviews, where they'll give you those algorithm questions that are definitely harder. Full disclosure, I haven't mastered the art of those algorithm questions, and my interviews at both ridecell and Turo were not like they were algorithm questions, but they weren't the really like hardcore ones that make you like optimize and come up with those really wacky solutions.
Yeah, for sure.
So if it's one of those, and if that's your thing, definitely cracking the coding interview and all those books. I'm sure Dr. Hill can even guide you as to how to get through those interviews. But really, just knowing your concepts should be half the problem solved.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I think The technical interview questions that you're talking about, I've heard them called like leak code style questions, or I've
Yep.
worked with students on HackerRank. Like they're a great place to practice. But yeah, the tech interview, if you can avoid it, for sure, more power to you, because they're like 3 to 4 hour final exams. Like no fun. And to be honest, I mean, if you're working for Manga, like you might actually need to understand some of those the solutions to those questions because you're coding at such large scales. But for the average developer, most of them don't even need that knowledge, which is why I think it's such a silly, well, I don't think it's the best mechanism because I also don't think you can test someone's ability to code and debug with an exam, right? Because there's so much to that process. You were just laying it out for us today. And so an exam can, as a professor, hey, I've designed exams with the best of them. There's only so much you can get out of somebody from those exams. So awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Karan. We so appreciate hearing your story and listening to your journey and how you became a six-figure software developer. And that's really reassuring that even if you can't master those algorithms questions, like if you can get partway there are companies that still don't use the hardcore tech interview. You can still have a shot at making that six-figure software developer career happen. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. If you have any questions, guys, don't hesitate to post in the comments. We're going to keep these interviews coming. I know I got a lineup scheduled for the next couple weeks, so we're gonna have more. And so thank you so much, Karan, for joining us today.
Sure.
Awesome. Great. Well, have a great rest of your night, guys. Take care. This is Emily again from The Joy of Coding, signing off, and happy coding.